In my lecture, I provided a critical assessment of the literature arguing that early life childhood health investments manifest as higher earnings in adulthood. In particular, I looked closely at the mechanisms involved. There are two key steps in the process. First, that investing in childhood health improves brain development. So children between the age of 0 and 1 are growing very rapidly, and that rapid growth is most clear in the brain. The brain doubles in size in infancy. So a nutritional shock or an infection shock to an infant will manifest in poorer brain development. So that's the first link in the chain. But then the second link is translating this potential cognitive ability, into education and earnings. And I reviewed the evidence suggesting that in the best circumstances that potential does translate through. However, there are at least three sorts of potential barriers. One is equal opportunities. So looking at black and white people in America, we provide evidence that blacks in the South had the higher health endowment, but this didn't translate into either education or earnings because access to good quality schools was limited through segregation. And a second barrier we highlight, looking at the case of a health intervention in historical Sweden, is institutional capacity. So Sweden was expanding the welfare state, but at the time that these healthier children emerged into the secondary school market, there were too few secondary schools, so they couldn't sort of realize their demand for education. And the third factor that we think could break the link in this causal process is market demand. So even if a population is more skilled, say because of improved early life health, that skill won't translate into earnings. It might still have, of course, other positive advantages, but it may not translate into earnings if there isn't a demand for skill at the time. And we illustrate this for the case of Sweden, showing that the demand for female skilled labor through the expansion of the welfare state, which demanded teachers, nurses, midwives, and health workers, was available. So women realized higher earnings, but there wasn't enough demand for skilled men. And so they had the better health endowment. They also had higher education, but they basically had didn't have higher earnings anywhere in the distribution. So overall, the research identifies the mechanisms that link early life health to earnings, and also identifies the potential constraints or barriers to the full realization of this link. I really enjoyed being at this summer school. I think it is not just an amazing setting, which it is, but it's a really congenial group. There's a lot of opportunity for students to mix with academics, and it's constructed in a manner that moves between lectures, workshops, and student presentations. And in the student presentations, there are assigned discussants, one junior and one senior. So I think with this mix of styles of talking to one another and for the students obtaining feedback, it is really very productive and fun.